I'm living in Derby at the moment. I've come to university here. I'm from Bolton originally, so kind of outskirts of Manchester, I guess. The whole of my family's Bolton fans, so I'm kind of pushed away by them. So, but United fans wise, my dad's a United fan, grew up a United fan, and I don't know, where do you see the club going in, let's just say, the next 5 years then? Where would you be your ideal goal 5 years time?
Interesting, as a club, that's interesting. I'd like to see us invest in an academy stadium as a club, because with a club that's got the heritage that we have with academy players, it's bullshit that we have to use Lee Sports Village, which is miles away. It's really difficult to get to. Or even Barton Stadium, the Salford and Sale Shark Stadium, for the money it would cost. And think about what you could do with an academy stadium. You can put all the youth cups in there. You can build like some sort of extra tourist attraction. We've got the land at Old Trafford to do it. They could do it on site at Old Trafford. They could do it at Carrington. And I think United, if you look around the world, you see that, Barcelona have got this sort of thing. You see other clubs around the world that have got this. You see what Manchester City have done. And
exactly, I was going to point out Manchester City.
And I hate comparing ourselves to City. I mean, what their investors have done versus the leeches that we've had in terms of the Glazers is hanging. I would personally love to see that one thing, that and a women's team from United.
Hey, Stephen Howson, how are you, bro?
I'm all right, my mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I've been trying since the last 1 hour to get through to you guys. Finally, I think I've made it.
I don't want him. I want Lukaku, just like you.
All right. I want Lukaku as well, but sometimes we can't always get what we want, can we? You have to get what's available. Maybe Morata's the only one that's available. Maybe we've gone to Lukaku and he said no. If that's the case, are you still thinking someone else instead of Morata?
There's talk about Belotti, but I haven't watched any of the Serie A.
You're more convinced with Belotti than Morata, though?
I haven't watched any of the Serie A, but he plays for Torino. I don't think he's good enough to play for United in the Premier League.
So can we talk about anything about the club?
Anything about anything, mate. Anything about anything. Unless you need to see a doctor about it, I recommend going to a medical professional. How do you think he's going to do for us next season?
Well, we saw with Zlatan, we saw how we was relying on him all the time, being like a target man. Well, Morata, he creates, when he's not scoring, he creates other chances as well, doesn't he? I've seen him lay people off when he knows he's probably not going to score.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up next as well. Looking around and you see the women's league, that's a growing league, and some of the players in there and stuff. I don't follow it regularly enough to pick out a full team, but you see some of the players in there. That is definitely something I would have thought we would have got into as a team. So, like you said, being the biggest club in the world, which, looking at the stats and then take away the stats just as a team, history-wise, we are the biggest team. So it's definitely something that...
Well, United always claim to be at the forefront of this, that and the other.
Yeah.
And it's laughable that we don't have our own academy stadium. It's laughable that we don't have our own women's team. They're so far behind. Some things, everything isn't to make money, or shouldn't be just to make money. I mean, that's for me is not what it should be about in terms of sport, and there should be something for women to do. I mean, my sister was at United's under 15s, 16s and 18s, and she had to leave because there was no open age side once she turned 18. And I'd love it if she was still playing football at the top level now. I mean,
is she not anymore? Is she not moved on to another club?
She went to Oldham after leaving United and then finished. So.
No way.
So Manchester United should have a women's team. There's
they
not
definitely
even an
should.
argument about it. Yeah, not even an argument about it. Absolutely should.
Di Maria, Falcao, Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin, all players that have come and gone since then. I mean, it's terrifying. Last season with Mourinho, we were able to sign 3 world-class players. Mkhitaryan, top player in the Bundesliga. Pogba, who, don't need to describe him. And Zlatan, who is one of the best strikers in the world.
Not far off world. I mean, I will call Bailly world-class. How consistent was he? Is there many better centre-halves? He's world-class. He's
world-class. I really like how aggressive he is. I think we needed that at the club in that centre-back position. And that's why I really like the signing of Victor Lindelof. Even though he scares me a bit from a defensive point of view, I think he gets turned pretty easily, and that sometimes, when I looked at Portuguese football, because I'm from Belgium, we have access to Portuguese football very easily. He was often caught off guard, and people were able to run behind him quite easily.
Yeah,
On the ball,
I don't
he's
think his positioning's great. I'm interested to see what Mourinho does with him and Bailly, because it could work really well, but both of them are a little bit. It could go wrong, I think, couldn't it?
Yeah, no, it could. But I mean, a few months ago, Mourinho said in an interview that he was looking for different players. I don't know if you remember, he said that in after I don't know which game it was after, but they asked him, well, do you know who you're going to sign and stuff? And he said, we need different players. This is why I don't expect a world-class signing.
Take us to your kitchen.
I walked around my kitchen.
Take us to your kitchen, Sam.
This is not through the keyhole.
Take me to the kitchen, Sam!
Look, I think I'm doing you a favour not taking you to the kitchen. Maybe you're hungry.
Sam, take me to the kitchen. This is going no further until we're in your kitchen.
Where are we? Is this in the show?
Yep.
Nobody wants to see my kitchen.
No, they do.
This is weird.
Sam, we're going no further until we're in your kitchen.
We're at an impasse.
So, are you lying about having a kitchen?
No, I've got one.
Prove it.
Because people saying we should sign a new left back. I don't see why we should sign a new left back, honestly speaking. If we have 4 people in one position, then what are we going to buy some more for? It's just...
Yeah, I think you've got to give people the opportunity in pre-season and then hope one of them can stand out. And what did you want to talk about Rooney?
Yeah, lately, I don't know. There was a time he talked about starting pre-season or starting the season earlier than everybody, just to show Jose Mourinho that yes, he's ready. Well, for some reason, I still feel Rooney has something to offer. Yeah, there was this discussion I was having one of these days. It's quite long ago. The person made mention of something. He said Rooney's body has taken a knock because he's had injuries over time. And I know you usually mention it on your channel that Wayne Rooney is a guy that can sacrifice for the team. And I think he has done it over the years. He has sacrificed his well-being for the team. He's had injuries over the years, and I think it's the injuries that are telling on him now.
I just saw a report the other day, I think it might have been yesterday, about Naby Keita wanting to leave Leipzig. I know you and Statman Daddy went to go watch him. What are your thoughts? Like, do you reckon he'd be a good fit?
Yeah, he was quite combative and seemed to move the ball up the pitch, drive up the pitch with the ball at his feet a little bit. He wasn't the most impressive player, and we saw it was Werner. It was the one that as we was leaving, I was like, whew, what a player he was. But yeah, he could be a low-key option to be that guy that sits and sweeps up behind Herrera and Pogba, I reckon. What do you think? Yeah. Do you rate the guy?
To be honest, I haven't watched much of Leipzig, so I was just looking. I've looked at a few YouTube videos. It seems alright, but you don't really get the bad things from YouTube videos, do you? What do you need from me?
Just want to be in your kitchen with you. Feel more at home.
In my kitchen.
Right. Show me your fridge.
There's nothing in it.
Well, show me then. Let's prepare the meal you're about to have together.
Oh, I've got a feta bake, actually. I'll just have some of that.
Boom. See, there you go. All right, get it out.
Well.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that the only 2 players that we can look at, though, Morata or Belotti?
I haven't got any other player in mind. Do you have?
Harry Kane's been getting linked lately, but that's for, I don't know, about $1 billion or something.
No, I don't want Harry Kane. Or if we get Harry Kane, we have to pay like 150 million. So I don't think it's worth it.
Okay, so it's Lukaku or who for you then?
I don't know. I haven't got any other player in mind.
We need a striker, don't we? Because we have to replace Zlatan, and we might even have to replace Rooney.
Yeah. What do you make of the idea of playing Rooney in a midfield 3 with Pogba and maybe say Herrera?
He's not got the legs.
Oh, yeah.
There's the dog.
Yeah.
Is that Berbatov?
Yeah, there he is.
Rumour is that he's a better footballer than you.
Well, I've never denied it.
Rumour is that you think you're playing up front in my team.
Because I'm upset Giggs isn't at the club anymore. That upsets me every single day. So
yeah, he obviously wants to go and be a manager somewhere.
But he hasn't done yet. That's the problem I see. Like, you see him on TV and stuff, but if he's not doing anything, I wish he was just still at the club. He could be looking around at the club, and then us knowing that he might move on. He doesn't have to have like an integral role to the club. That
he could have got experience, you'd think, couldn't you, at the club?
Yeah.
Because that's why he's not getting jobs, because he's not getting jobs, because he's not getting experience. You can
exactly
probably have got some experience in the time that he's not been at the club, I imagine.
Yeah. Which links into potentially starting up a women's club, getting gigs in there potentially.
Dangerous.
Is it dangerous?
Yeah, I don't think
Is it dangerous?
I don't think you want that. I mean,
no.
There's a lot of potential slip-ups to be had there, I reckon.
Yeah, true.
I expect different plays, and that's what he did with Victor Lindelof. He's very different to anything we've had at the club since Rio Ferdinand, in my opinion, at that centre-back position. This is why when we hear players like Perisic, even though at first I was like, he played for Bruges 10 years ago, and I didn't really like him at the time when he played in Belgium. But right now, I think it's pretty credible. He's a different player. He can play on the left, he can play on the right, through the middle, both feeted. He, in my opinion, has the best cross compared to Ashley Young, who, in my opinion, has the best cross at the club right now, even though it's... Ashley Young, in my opinion, every time he was cutting on that right peg, crossing in back post to Fellaini, I mean, it was dangerous, even though it didn't look great. I think Ashley Young has a very good cross on him.
No, he's got the lowest completion rate of crosses since the Romans.
But I mean, I don't like Ashley Young. I mean, I'm not a big fan of him. But I remember that season when we struggled so much on the Louis van Gaal, and when over 7-8 games where Fellaini and Ashley Young were kind of our only danger output we had at a certain moment.
So Manchester United, Sam.
Yeah, go on.
What do you like at the moment about Manchester United, or dislike?
I don't really like the new kit, the red one.
Why?
It just seems a bit fine. It's not special.
I think that kits become special once they've had things achieved in them, though.
Whilst I agree with that in principle, and that is definitely true, I could give you 2 T-shirts, and you would say I prefer that one to the other one.
True story.
So from a base point going in, do you remember the season that it was we had the gingham, the red gingham. That was an awful kit. Robin van Persie did great things in that kit, but I didn't like it.
I was wondering what you think Man United should do with our left back situation.
I think we just need to be patient and hope that Luke Shaw can be the guy that we thought he had the potential to be.
Like, in the past few years, he hasn't, like, in my opinion, in the past few years that we signed him, he hasn't exactly even played up to a full season's length. So he's just injury prone, and like, if we want to win the league, I think we should get a proper left back that's like fit.
Who would you get instead?
That's the hard one. I just don't know. I would just
Luke Shaw, if he's fit, is one of the top left backs in the world, undoubtedly. And I agree that he's had his injury problems since he joined, but prior to breaking his leg that season, I think he had 10-15 games that season, he was absolutely mint. He was easily our player of the season up to that point.
I would agree.
Do you not think he's worth putting the time into and the patience into?
Like, before his injury at PSV, when he was at Southampton, definitely one of the best left backs in the league. I can't remember if he got into the team this season that year. But since his leg break, he's been on and off. And I went to the game he got injured again. I think it was Watford. And I just thought, there's no point. Because we've got Darmian, who's a bit iffy. Blind's too slow in my opinion, but he kind of does the job. If we got like a proper left back in, maybe sold one of our left backs and then got Luke Shaw coming in and out, try and build him up this year and then get him ready in for next year.
I don't understand why. I know Matic has got a relationship with Mourinho at Chelsea, but I can't understand why I would go for Matic instead of Fabinho.
Agreed. Do you not think Schneiderlin is just as good as Matic? Because I do.
Yeah, that one, I agree with that. And the other thing is number one, Fabinho's younger, and if, for example, if you took Matic out of the Chelsea team, in my opinion, I don't think nothing would really change, because Kante does all the work for them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think in United's team, I think Herrera's like Kante. So if you put Matic in there along with Herrera and Pogba, I don't think it'd make that much of a difference. Whereas if you had Fabinho, he brings something different as well. He'll do the same thing as what Matic will do, but he'll bring some more. He'll improve our attack as well. I
agree. I think Fabinho's a better choice than Matic. I'm not sure which we're going to go for, but yeah, I agree. Go on then.
So I want to talk about Wayne Rooney.
Yep.
So, I mean, I have this massive respect for this guy, and he's done a lot for the club. He's our top goal scorer. And sometimes I feel it's a pity, when people just talk about him in the negative sense and they say that he's just lost everything. See, I do agree he's a shade lesser than what he used to be. But then when it comes to respect, I think he deserves a little more respect from fans like us. We need to give him a little more respect. Wouldn't you agree to that?
No, I think he gets. It depends where you see the respect that Rooney's getting. For me, I think he gets let off a lot of where his current performances are on the back of the sentiment that he is the club's leading goal scorer. I think it's that sort of sentiment which saw the likes of Gary Neville kept in the side possibly longer than they should have been. Not really the same with Giggs and Scholes because they were still very productive until they finished. I think Wayne Rooney's being spoken about that he needs respect and he should be kept around in the team because of what he's achieved previously is nonsense. How good is he this season? Not very. Is he of Manchester United standard? No. So why are we allowing ourselves to think that you should keep around someone who's not of Manchester United standard, especially when they cost us as much as Wayne Rooney cost us? You're talking 2 free players could be in the team that are more productive on what we're paying Wayne Rooney, and I think it'll probably come down to a boardroom level decision that he needs to go based on how much he costs.
I think Mata's got only 1 year left on his contract. Is it right?
I think it might be, going into the season. Yeah, potentially.
Would you extend it?
Maybe, because I don't know how he's going to play. If he plays 4-3-3, I don't see where Mata's coming into that all the time. I think him and Mkhitaryan are going to be fighting for that right forward sort of slot. If we play 4-2-3-1, I think he's got more opportunities to play either as the 10 or on the right hand side of that and be a bit more fluid with Mkhitaryan. But I also think, and a lot of United fans don't like that, but I also think the job that Jesse Lingard does puts a lot of what Mata does in
I like
danger,
Jesse Lingard, to be honest. I do like him.
I think his off the ball stuff is fantastic, and people forget how much of an important part of the game
that is. He works a lot defensive. He does a lot of defensive work, and that's very important.
Would you extend him, Mata?
What? Excuse me?
Would you extend Mata's contract?
I would. I personally will. But not for like 3 or 4 years, just 2 years or something. Then I think we have to move on and get another one, or maybe look at Angel Gomez. He may be ready in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, and then, go with him.
What do you think about Perisic? Would you go Rodriguez or Perisic?
I don't think it's one or the other. I think you might see both.
You think there's space for both, considering we already have Mkhitaryan, we have Martial, we've got Lingard, Rashford.
I do.
So many wingers.
I do. I think we're fighting on a lot of fronts next season, so I think there's room in the
Champions
squad.
League as well.
Because I think we're going to be expected to be competitive on all of those fronts, I reckon, next season.
Oh yeah, for sure. What do you think about our chances next year? League, Champions League, FA Cup. What are you thinking? Realistically, I mean, we want United to win the league.
I don't think we're going to win it yet. I mean,
I don't think
I would expect us to be a lot more competitive in the league than we was this season. But I don't think we've necessarily already addressed the issues that we saw last season. So I think there's things that need to happen in pre-season.
We need some finishers, I think, more than anything. And realistically, I see us finishing third, fourth, considering the amount of players Man City are going for, Chelsea going for some good players as well, Arsenal, as usual, chasing everyone, but don't get anyone.